Welcome back to the Total Focus Podcast. I'm your host, Paul. Our special guest this week is Alexi Ramsey. She is a Ms. Virginia USA competitive pageant contestant. She's also a former Miss Virginia Teen United States. What I think is incredible is her hard work and her diversity working with drones and being a geologist and studying rocks and land surveying. If you're looking up to someone, this is someone you should look up to. The simple fact of having someone that's so incredible and hardworking, this is someone that meets all those requirements. The title doesn't necessarily make the girl. She makes the title, and this is a perfect example. She may not have the title yet, but she will definitely deserve it in the future. Our sponsor of the week is Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Productions. No matter if you need photos or video, Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Productions is the team to get the job done. No matter if you need photos for a wedding, photos for a special event, if you need videos for a commercial, or if you need video for a drone event, they are the team to get the job done. So reach out to Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Productions for your next photo or video project. And welcome to the show.
Hello, Paul.
Well, it's a very crazy day going on, but we're gonna have fun here, and we're gonna talk about some incredible pageant stuff and positive modeling and everything. So it's always exciting to have someone, I would say, that is excelling and just hasn't made it to the top. So it's always fun to interview people that are on their way to the top. So I'm hoping that after you win your national title or your state title, that you'll come back and be on my show too. So
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
oh, no problem. So, what's the overall? So you live in Virginia. How did you get into pageantry or to modeling, or is that one and the same, or was there another avenue that you originally got into that kind of flowed into what you are now currently doing?
So, actually, I was born and raised in Hawaii, and I competed in my first pageant when I was about 7.5 months old. So, I've been doing pageants on and off since I was 7.5 months old. But I first got into the Miss Virginia USA system when I turned 13 years old. And I competed as a teen, took a few years off before I became a Miss. And it's something that my family kind of introduced me to. And then as I kept doing it over the years, it's kind of helped me find my passion and try to help me explain it and show everyone what I'm really about. So this year I'm going at Miss Virginia USA 2021, and I will be trying to talk to people and educate people about what I do for work. I fly drones and I sample groundwater. So I'm just trying to make people more aware and share my passion with them.
Well, that's a really awesome and interesting field because, basically 20 years ago, that field was more or less didn't exist because the technology was more like helicopters and airplane survey photos. So that's a cool new field that's completely just come out of nowhere in the last 20 years. So that sounds like a pretty awesome field to be in. Is that something you've always wanted to do, is to being in land surveying and water cultivation, all that kind of that?
Well, actually, when I first got accepted to Radford University, I went in as a business major, and I realized business wasn't really for me. So I changed my major again to teaching. I realized that teaching wasn't for me either. So I was taking a geology class and I fell in love with it. I realized I was super interested in what I was doing. It kept me really motivated to keep learning and keep educating myself. So I finally changed my major to geology. And as I was going through college, I was taking all these extra classes on the side just to keep my mind open on what I wanted to do after I graduated. And I took a few drone classes in college, actually. So that's how I kind of got into the drone aspect of things. And then once I graduated, I sample groundwater just to make sure that there's no water pollution or anything like that. And the drone work that I'm doing, the surveying, is honestly, I could barely consider it a job because it is so much fun. And I love going out there every day and just making sure that all the airports that we're working on, there's no obstructions in the runways or anything like that. And it's something that I love to share and I love to talk about. So,
Well, I hope I can. I know that the idea is to talk about pageants and your passion for modeling as well, but this is something that it definitely intrigues me. So I hope we can. I can take a couple minutes out of this interview and talk about this because this is fascinating. So, are you flying a non-commercial um, quad, or are you flying an Inspire, or are you flying some kind of modified um, Phantom product, or are you not flying a DJI product at all?
so we fly mostly DJI. We have quadcopters. We have the M600, which is a six propeller drone. We have the smaller M300, which is a quadcopter as well. And then we have a few fixed wing aircrafts from the EV SenseFly organization.
That's that new company, right? Is that the one that also hovers and also rotates, that will become a plane, but then also hovers?
Yes, the DJI drones.
No. There is a brand that has been working on a plane that can flip and go into plane mode and fly horizontally like a normal plane, and then if it wants to hover, it can flip on its side and then hover like a drone.
I actually have not seen that, but I will research it because that sounds very interesting.
Okay. I'm big into drones. I do real estate photography, so this is so cool. You have flown Inspires then?
Yes.
Do you like the Inspires? A lot of my friends that fly Inspires, they complain because it's so bulky and so big.
I would prefer a small Mavic just because they're so convenient and they're very easy to travel with. And the camera is decent enough to where you can throw it in your backpack, go on a hike, and then just launch it from the top of a mountain. But I mean, we do use the Inspire to do surveying.
And I guess the last time I read into the farming, that they have these new um, what's the right word? I guess sprayers that you can attach to the eight. Um, it's on the more on the commercial side where you. I guess it's the eight propeller one where you can have the water production,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's probably the one you're talking about, that 800 series.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has that lidar sensor, and also has the emit radar, so you can check how much water is in the land survey. That's basically what we're talking about, right?
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. Like, so are those more, I guess, stable to fly because there's so much more power behind it, or are they actually more difficult because it's more manual and there's not as much like you're supposed to be running it, unlike the ones that are non-commercial where there's like dummy features built in where you know they're going to have sensors all over the place.
Well, the M600, which is the six propeller drone, honestly, it's just like flying an Inspire or a P4. They fly the exact same. The controllers are the exact same. The movements are the same. So it's just personal preference on what you're doing or what you need the drone for.
Well, it sounds like, you have an awesome career. If someone wants to get into what you're doing, what type of courses and what's the field that they go into, being a photographer or making movies, or is there another field that would be better suited?
For drone work itself, after I took the classes in college, I realized that there were a lot of different things that you can use for drones. But if someone really loved photography, then getting a drone that has a high pixel camera and following their passion that way would be a good idea. But if you want to do more of the land surveying, geological work, then I would try to get in with a survey company that has an established drone program, and then you can learn that way as well.
So it's better that you have a degree in is that the degree in
Yes, geology.
geology? So there's a degree that's specifically called geology then, or is it
Hmm.
okay? So and then they'll just teach you how to fly. Is that the back other way to do it?
So Radford actually had its own drone program and drone classes. A lot of universities are just now establishing their programs, and some of them don't have drone programs yet. But I'm sure if you reached out to me, I could help find whatever drone program you want to enter into, or I can help you along with any kind of aspirations that you have if you did and if you were interested in flying.
Well, that's really awesome that you want to help people, and your information is going to be in the contact information below. So I hope anyone that's inspiring and is still trying to find a job, from my experience, flying a DJI drone and flying drones for real estate is an incredible thing, especially when you get paid to go out there and have fun. So if she's willing to help you, I would encourage you guys to take up that, because that's thousands of dollars of awesome resources that she's willing to help you. So that's pretty nice of you to do that.
No problem.
So is the geology portion of your education, does it have anything to do with like the movie, like how geologists are portrayed as like really interesting, cool people? Like Indiana Jones is, you know, he's always this like cool person. Is that it, or you just really love the idea of discovering rocks and finding out new minerals, and is that what's cool, or did 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 Hollywood make it look like a cool job too?
Honestly, the first geology class that I took that convinced me to become a geology major was all about Earth's natural hazards. So that was kind of the stepping stone for me for geology. But then as I kept getting more in depth, I realized that I loved the rocks, the minerals, the landscapes, how the world works, and the natural disasters and how they form, what causes them. It's all just super interesting. And I feel like you could never really find out everything about geology because you're always learning something new. And that's what I love in a career, is something that will continue to challenge me and make me grow as a person.
Yeah, I was reading this book about um, diamond creation, and in the book they were giving up the theory that a majority of the diamonds are probably from the inner magnum that were thrown up through volcanoes through the Earth's normal progression, and that there's a lot of people believe that there's lots of diamonds inside the actual Earth, that so because as you know, and I hope our listeners know, is that diamonds only form under immense amount of pressure. So um, I thought that was so fascinating. So, and everyone loves diamonds. I mean, so isn't I mean, does that sound like? Does that sound right? Because I was reading it. It made sense to me when I was reading it that
Hmm.
that's a majority of that's where all the diamonds came from, and then there's got to be like some really big ones that are still basically lodged in the center of the earth in some fashion. So
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of diamonds way beneath the ground. They do form under immense temperatures and pressures, but volcanoes are really one of the big aspects that bring the molten lava to the surface.
right.
So I wish we could get down there and find them, but
Well, hey, maybe one day we'll have if we can go into space, maybe we'll have something that can take the a massive amount of pressure and heat that would occur. But I don't think it'll be in our lifetime. So
probably not. But I hope they can get there one day. That would be awesome.
I think it's as I think going to the bottom of the ocean and going to the center of the core are as cool as discovering space and going to other planets, because there are things that we still don't understand. So I agree,
Hmm.
studying rocks and the idea of how the earth is founded and how it constantly changes is really cool. So well, I really appreciate you indulging me, because I know it's not necessarily the original topic, but to go back to what you were saying. So I assume that if you started in Hawaii, are you do you have family members that were in the military or the army? Is that how you moved around, or
Hmm.
huh?
Yes, that
Okay,
is how it moved around.
okay. So um, do you have any remembers being in Hawaii and doing pageants there, or it just happens to be a footnote that you happen to have opportunity to do that when you were a little one?
I do not really have a ton of memories of doing pageants in Hawaii because they were very rare when I was little. But as I progressed, I moved to Nevada. I lived in California for a little while. And as I was moving every couple years because my parents were in the Marine Corps,
That's so
I
awesome.
kind
Thank
of,
you for their service.
I will let them know.
Hmm.
But I kind of took a break. And then when I got to high school, so I actually have a few old cars that me and my grandfather restored together, and we take them to car shows every summer. And I saw this girl walking around that had a Miss Virginia teen sash on. I was like, "Oh, that's really interesting. Like, I wonder who she is. I want to know her. Like, I want to talk to her and see how this happened." And I was really young. I think I was maybe 7th grade. So I spoke with her, and she kind of
So it's
told me
12, right?
everything.
I get my
I think
math right.
so. I think so. But she kind of told me everything with the pageant. I was like, oh wow, like that sounds so interesting. Like I really want to try it. So I entered into Miss Virginia Teen USA, and I loved my experience. Walking on the USA stage, even at such a young age, like really inspired me to do better things and like keep like growing as a person. And I did the teen pageant under Kid and Nice Wonder for 3 years. And then as I aged out of teen and I went to college, I kind of took a break to really find myself, progress my education, find my passion. And last year was actually the first year that I went back to compete in Miss Virginia USA. And I was lucky enough to make the top 15. So
Kudos
this
to
year,
you.
thank you.
But now I am skipping along, but you totally left out that you have a teen title with the United States. So you do have some past titles that you could mention. So
Yes. I was Miss Virginia Teen United States 2015, and I went on to nationals at Miss Teen United States and actually placed third runner up.
okay. So do you think that you have a natural act at like fitting the mold of what they're looking for, or do you think you work really hard at it?
I think it could go either way because every judge panel is different, but I think that my stage presence comes a little bit naturally to me, but I also think that I offer a different aspect and could be a different kind of title holder because of what I stand for and what I do.
Now that you're doing this very dirty job, is it a way for you to have that split personality? 1 minute you're Clark Kent, then the next minute you're Superman. 1 minute you're getting your hands dirty, next minute you have your hair curled and wearing a sash. Is that
Yes.
is that a good
That,
way to describe it?
yeah,
You're
I
just
think
not.
so.
I mean, I hope you're saving people, but we have to get you to your platform too. So.
Well, actually, I think you explained it really well. I
Oh, good.
love being in the field. I love sampling groundwater and making sure everything is good. No one's getting poisoned from the groundwater, anything like that. But then again, I also love putting on a gorgeous gown and fixing my hair and doing my makeup and getting to know all these pageant girls too. I mean, I've made like a ton of friends just from doing the Miss Virginia USA pageant last year.
Is that something that comes from you naturally? Like you have a desire to have that split personality, or is that something that someone else that you look up to, you inspire to, or do you think it just depends on the person?
Um, I kind of grew up as a tomboyish lifestyle, and I always looked at pageants when I was younger to bring out my glamorous side. Like I like to tell people, I'm the girliest tomboy you're ever going to meet in your entire life. So,
Well, then I would, I don't know what other people think about their states, but it sounds like Virginia would be a perfect state for you because, you know, at 1 minute you can be in the country and 1 minute you can be in the city. So it sounds like Virginia is a perfect state for you.
yes, I do love Virginia. I've actually lived in 3 different spots in Virginia. So I like to experience all the different lifestyles and areas because Virginia is one in its own.
Well, I mean, in comparison, it's one of the biggest East Coast states. So I mean, it has a very large different demographic from the East Coast to the West Coast. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and when West Virginia was still part of Virginia, I mean, it was even more diverse. So, um, I I agree with you on that assessed of Virginia is that it really allows you to um, live so many different aspects and still live in and still be in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
um, I I always I appreciate that a state that has water, but then you can go out as far and then you have mountains too.
Yep.
So I don't know how it would be to live in a state that's landlocked. But I guess that's where lakes are really important and having rivers and doing that type of activities than having, um, an ocean. So I'm assuming.
Well, I did live in Nevada for a little while when I
Okay.
was younger.
What was
And
that
having
experience like?
that's one of those, another memory where I kind of remember, kind of don't, because I was still pretty young. I was in late elementary, early middle school. But I do remember going to Lake Tahoe all the time, which is in Nevada and California. They actually held Miss USA there a few years ago. I loved that area, but I do miss the beach. I mean, being born and raised in Hawaii, I am totally a beach girl through and through. But I mean, I always like to travel back home to Southwest Virginia and visit the mountains. So being in Virginia is honestly perfect for me because I have both sides of the spectrum and everything in the middle.
Well, I don't blame you. I mean, when you're young and you're on top of your game, might as well be a beach girl, right? And if you've got the time to do it, you know, this is when you're supposed to take those opportunities. Um, so it sounds like it's just been a part of your life consistently, right? Is that the best way to look at it?
Like living in Virginia.
No, pageantry and just being on stage and doing that.
Yes, it has.
So, has anything else been in your life as well to help you? Like, are you when you were going through school, were you doing cheerleading or doing performances? Because you said one of the things that you excel at is being on stage. So is that naturally earned, or is that something that you learned from another talent?
Well, I actually played 7 sports in high school, and cheerleading was one of them. So I think just being a competitor is in my blood, and I think being on stage is really like me competing and me really trying to be the best person that I can be. And just like in sports, you train and you train and you train for this one objective or this one game. So I think everything goes hand in hand.
So do you think that's what is putting you ahead of your competition that may do it every year and you're jumping in and doing so well right off the bat? It's because you really put yourself out there and challenge yourself in so many different ways. Because sometimes people say it's good to specialize in just one thing and try it all the time, but it seems like you're going the other route. Let's just try everything, and if it's fun, I'll continue doing it. Am I
Yep,
right? Am I
yep, you're right. I love to try new things, and if I'm not as good as at something that I would like to be, I just keep practicing, keep trying, keep training. And then if I continue to like whatever I'm doing, I'll continue with it and continue being a competitor and competing.
I just wanted to take 1 second from this great interview and talk about our sponsor of the week, Mid Atlantic Video and Photography Productions. No matter if you're planning a wedding, a special event, or you just need an amazing headshot, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443-422-3830. Again, that's 443-422-3830. Or you can go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to the show and listen to this great interview. Have a teen title with the United States. You're currently pursuing a title with United States, which, in my opinion, is the system. Have you competed in any other systems that you can talk about, and your opinion on and what the systems are like?
I have only competed in United States as a teen, and
Okay.
then I've competed in USA as a teen and a miss.
Um, let's just break down what we can talk about United States coming up, but what do you think about USA? Let's talk about United States. What do you think about United States? Do you think it's a good pageant to stay and win and focus on, or do you think it's a good pageant to get your footing and just understand how the pageants work, or is there another option?
I really enjoyed the United States system. I had a ton of fun when I was competing as a teen. I met a ton of girls at nationals and made some great connections. There were a few girls that competed on the USA stage this past year as different states that I actually met in the United States organization. So for me, United States was a stepping stone to USA. But overall, I would prefer the USA system just because I think it embodies more of my personality and what I'm trying to do. And it makes me like really feel confident when I step out on stage. I can really feel myself glowing. So that's the difference for me between United States and USA.
I agree with you 100%, but sometimes going into it, maybe people look at it and they say they're both pageants. Is it the prestige and the notoriety? Is it something physical like the sash or the crown that makes it more thing, or is it just the overall? When you say USA, people know who you are. Any of those factors is what makes it better?
I don't think so. I think it's more of a personal preference of what makes you feel better inside. If someone loves competing in United States, go for it and do what you want to do. Keep excelling for your dreams. But for me, doing USA, even if it wasn't a huge pageant, something that people didn't really know what you were talking about, it makes me feel good and it makes me feel confident in who I am. So I like to keep competing in USA because I can tell from last year at Miss Virginia USA to this coming up April, I can feel myself growing and I'm having a lot of personal growth and a lot of changes that are making me a better person. And I like to thank the USA system for that.
Is it, at the end of the day, are you looking for growth or are you looking to win that title? Like, at the end of the day, if you never win another title and you've grown as a human being and you're in a 10 times more responsible job at where you're currently working, you got more money and you're still doing everything you love, are you still happy, or would you still need to win that title to be fully fulfilled?
Well, 2021 will actually be the ninth year that I have been trying to win a USA title. So for me, every one of those years, I have had a lot of personal growth. And I think I have been pushed harder and harder every year to really figure out who I am. And of course, I want to win. My dream has always been to walk on the Miss USA stage. But I mean, that's every girl's dream that competes. But as long as I walk away as a better person and I walk away happy, then I'm going to keep competing until I age out.
So what does that really mean to walk on stage? Like, is it the bright lights that like, how do you describe it in your brain? Like, if you could describe it, you're going to write it down. Is it the bright lights? Is it that big camera? Is it the famous host that's going to say your name and the current Miss USA? Like, what's that moment that would really give you, like, I've made it, or you're proud of yourself? Because I mean, you've done so much already. You're in a great career. You're excelling in life. It sounds like you already have validation, but it sounds like you definitely want that one last validation.
I think those few seconds before you walk on stage, everything is going through your head like, oh, smile, do this, got to make sure I do this, practice. And then when you finally get on stage, everything just melts away. And I remember last year when I walked on stage at Miss Virginia USA, I was so proud of myself for how far I had come in that year when I was training. And I was the giddiest, happiest person. I could not stop smiling. And it's just something about hearing the crowd cheering you on and just knowing that you worked so hard for that moment and that moment is yours. So you can make it whatever you want. And as long as you're having a good time, everything's going to be okay at the end of the day.
I mean, I love that answer because anyone that is doing something they love and is not fully focused on, like, money or like the fame aspect gives such a genuine answer, and your answer is so genuine, and that's clearly why the judges think so highly of you, because uh you can't you can't, like, fake it. Because in my opinion, when I've judged pageants and I've interviewed pageant contestants, you can really tell the people that really want to be a part of the community, and then the ones that just want to have the title or the crown on their head. So I can tell you, like, you would be a great Miss Virginia. It sounds like, you know, you just need this opportunity. So I'm really hoping that you get this opportunity, because you only have a couple more years left, but I don't even think that's the thing. Like, this COVID thing. Who knows how they're even going to do the pageant? So,
Mm-hmm.
does that concern you?
Not so much, just because they were able to figure out how to do Miss USA during COVID. If we have to do our interviews on Skype or if we have to wear a mask while we're in the vicinity or at the venue, or even if they want to just do the pre-recorded evening gown and swimsuit walks, it's fine with me because I mean, I've put everything I could into this, and I just want to show the judges like who I really am. And if it's on Skype or in person, I'll be happy to do either.
Well, it sounds like, if anyone is going with the flow and willing to do whatever it takes to win, it sounds like you definitely have that winning attitude. So kudos for you for
Thank you.
for having that, because in a year like we've had, you could be totally like, no, this is my year. I have to win it my way. So I appreciate you being such an adult. I mean, you are literally an adult, but like, um, every year I get older, even now at 38, I totally realize there's a difference, like in my mindset from 15 to 28 to 38.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you've also been excelling in modeling. So how does that play a role in it? Is modeling something you've done to help with your personal self-confidence, or is that something you have added into your guns, your bullets for your gun to be more out there? And are you using it to your advantage, or you just doing it for fun?
Well, last year was the first year that I did a photo shoot in I think about 5 years. So I'm just newly getting back into modeling and photography and stuff like that. But last year I did it just for fun. I just wanted to see what I could do, what the outcome was going to be, what the photos would look like. And then this past summer, I was shooting bikini photo shoots with John Herzog, and I loved it. We had the best time, and the photos turned out amazing. He did an amazing job, and I was really having fun with it. And I never realized how comfortable I could be in my own skin and in a swimsuit until I saw those photos that reflected how happy and how proud and how confident I was in myself. So after that, we did another bikini shoot, and then I've shot with John multiple times. I've been kind of branching out, trying to do some different looks and different aspects for photography, editorial, things like that. But it's all very new to me, but I'm still learning and I enjoy it. So I plan on keep keeping up with it.
So for your followers and people that look up to you, is that something that's important to add into your repertoire to be more successful at pageantry or at life? Or is it just something that is good to make yourself feel better? Is it, I guess it's a female question, because as a guy, I don't need that. But do you think that women do need that validation, that you feel confident and that you're beautiful no matter what size you are?
I think we all need that validation sometimes. I mean, sometimes you have a bad day or you wake up and you don't feel as pretty as you did the day before. But for me, photography is something super fun that I can branch out of my comfort zone and try on all these crazy outfits and crazy hair and realize that I'm beautiful no matter what I look like. So I think doing photo shoots and getting into modeling for girls that have lower self-confidence or lower self-esteem, I think it would be a great push for them to realize that they are beautiful no matter what they look like and whatever they are wearing or anything like that, because it really helped me come out of my shell and it made me realize how much I did love myself and I did love my body. So I would definitely recommend doing a photo shoot, no matter if it's for fun or a pageant or anything like that.
Is it better for someone that's in their high school or young 20s, they're in college, to work more on like a team sport? Or do you think it's good to build that self-confidence as an individual through photo shoots? Like, it sounds like you built a lot of confidence. You were on a lot of teams. You said you were on cheerleading. I assume you were on other team sports. There's not that
Hmm.
many single sports, individual sports, unless you're playing tennis or golf. Um, so it sounds like you had a really strong background in team, and it sounds like to me that you built a lot of self-confidence as an individual through modeling. So do you think it's better to do one first over the other, or do you think both play a vital role and it doesn't matter which way?
I think they both play a pretty vital role because I mean, in high school, I played volleyball and basketball. I was cheerleading. I played tennis. Like, I did all of those things on a team. And then I also ran track as an individual. So I kind of have both aspects of individual and team when I was playing sports in high school. But also, doing a photo shoot by yourself is great. But I've also done some photo shoots with friends. And I think they're always pushing you to do better. And I think that no matter which way you do them, if you do one or the other first, I think they'll both be beneficial in the long run.
Do you think that these two skills are really going to help you take you to the next level? And do you think that you're at a hump? Do you like what are your past going back to teen? Were you stuck at a certain point because you took a huge gap and then you were in, where did you place again for USA last year?
Top 15.
Top 15. So you were in top 15. So do you think you're in that top 15 hump where you need to get to the top 5? Or what's your mindset on that? Or do you think that's a myth and that's just something that people say because they're not fully comfortable or confident?
Well, as a teen, I think I did hit a hump and I was able to make top 15, top 15, top 15, but I never truly was able to make the top 5 until 1 year at Virginia Teen USA and then 1 year at Virginia United States, Teen United States. Just because I wasn't really passionate about anything, I didn't really have a platform. I was just kind of there to compete. And that was my hump that I had to get over. And I had to realize that I shouldn't be competing unless I have a reason and unless I have something I want to share with everyone. Because if I did win and didn't have something that I was passionate about, no one's going to follow you and no one's going to listen to you. And as a title holder, you need to have that voice and you need to voice what you believe in. So as a teen, that was my problem. And going into Miss last year, I really had a self realization that I want to be able to do this for me. And I want to be able to compete and be the best person I can be and try to grow as a person. And then I honestly took a few months off and I wasn't sure I was going to compete this year because I wasn't sure what my platform was going to be. So it took me a little while to figure out why I wanted to compete this year and why I wanted to win Miss Virginia USA. But now that I've figured out my passion and my platform to talk about, if I did win, I think that's really pushing me and hopefully it will push me past the top 15 this year.
Well, you kind of glanced over it. So what's your platform for this year?
So I really want to educate people on geological aspects in Virginia.
Okay.
And with it being a COVID year, I thought it would be super fun to travel around Virginia explaining Virginia's geologic features and trying to make it fun and entertaining for people to watch on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. Because if you have all these kids that are at home trying to listen to their science teacher on Zoom or
Mm-hmm.
Skype, and they're getting distracted because they're
Mm-hmm.
just kids and they're hanging out in their room. But if they find someone that they really enjoy watching that makes learning interesting and fun, they're going to pay attention. So I really want to teach really everyone about geology because people always look at me and make jokes about, oh, you study rocks. And of course I do. I mean, it's geology. I love studying rocks, but I just want to really educate people on what geology is. And I think that for me, I could really push myself and also teach people at the same time. So that's always a plus.
So I assume you went to Varia Caverns and did a video on the stalactites then.
I have been to a few
Yeah.
caverns in Virginia,
Cool.
and I do have a ton of photos. I'm
I think
actually
they're so
really
cool.
claustrophobic.
They're so cool.
Me too. Me too. But I'm kind of claustrophobic, so it was a little freaky being down there, but it was awesome to see everything.
Can I tell you some trivia?
Yes.
So they built a like a cavity for the Lincoln Memorial, and it's sealed. And they were doing maintenance about 10 years ago, and they had unsealed it to do the maintenance, and they have stalactites forming from the top of the top of the ceiling of the cave that they naturally built for the Lincoln Memorial, that are now dripping down because it's been sealed for like 100 years. So I thought that was cool. So like there's like naturally forming stalactites in the Lincoln Memorial. So I didn't know if
That's
you heard
awesome.
about
I
that.
didn't know that.
I just thought it was so cool, but that could be something you could add. So I was watching Natural Geographic, and they were talking about just the maintenance of the Lincoln Memorial. So
That's crazy because stalactites actually take a pretty decent amount of time to form. So
yes,
that's
they do.
really cool.
So there must be a lot of salt built up that keeps on rolling down the marble and continue. So, but
Well,
it
a
make
lot of
go ahead.
I was just going to say a lot of Virginia is karst terrain, and karst is just limestone that's very weather resistive, and it creates a ton of caves all over here. So that's very interesting. I'm going to have to look into that
I
more.
was so fascinated. When you win Miss Virginia, I would totally be, if you can get permission, I'd love to be your I'd love to be your sideline reporter, photographer to go on that event so we can take photos of the stalactites underneath the Lincoln Memorial. So, I'm looking forward to doing that when you win Miss Virginia. So, if you want to do that, because supposedly it's
of
like,
course, that would be so much fun.
yeah. They went on to say that like it's like a secretly hidden place and there's only one access to it, and I'm like, oh my god, I want to get into that so badly.
Well, if I can get my foot in the door, then we will definitely go.
Oh yeah, all you do is smile, you're drop dead gorgeous and have your sash on, you're good, right? It's
Hopefully.
it's the automatic yes to everything, right?
I hope so. I mean, I will definitely try for sure.
I just wanted to take one extra second and talk about our sponsor of the week, Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Production. No matter if you're planning a wedding and you need a wedding videographer, you're doing a music video, or doing a commercial, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443-422-3830. Again, that's 443-422-3830. Or you can go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to this great interview. All right, so this is the part of the show where I always allow my lovely guests to thank anyone that is helping her along the way. So usually when I have my title holder, I say definitely sponsors, or any upcoming events. But we're still technically in COVID, so and there's still lockdowns going on, even though there's a vaccine being given out. So are you doing any virtual events coming up, or is there anyone that's important that people should know about that's really helping you along your journey?
I have a handful of people. I'm not that close with my mother, so to speak. So I've kind of had a little pageant mom with Molly Schmitz and Courtney Schmitz, who was Miss Virginia before Susie Evans. And Courtney has really pushed me to come out of my shell and really figure out why I want to compete. So she's been a great help through everything. My friend Kaylee has really helped me and really pushed me. She's the one that's been helping me with all of my outfit decisions.
Kaylee
And
Kaylee's actually going to
Horvath.
be on. Yeah. Kaylee's
Yep.
actually going to be on the show, so she was really excited. She's like, "Oh, I can't wait."
Yes, I love her. She's the sweetest human. And then I'm working with John Herzog. He's the one that's done all my photos, my headshots, my ad pages. Um, and I mean, other than that, they're really the core people that are helping me towards my dream of becoming Miss Virginia USA.
Well, it's always good to have a core of people. So, um, do you think that's if you win the title this year? Do you think that's why you've won because you finally have that core amount of people, or do you think it's because you've matured and you're in that right spot and you have everything and you're just putting it together?
I think it will definitely be because I have those core of people, just because I always like to say, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to actually get there and get your dream, go together. So, together, my group of people have really pushed me to really realize like what I want to do and why I want to be Miss Virginia USA. So, I think them pushing me beyond my comfort zone is really going to push me over the edge of getting stuck at that top 15 placement.
Well said. I don't know. I don't have a comeback. um. So if there's someone that is starting a pageant, maybe they're in the hump. Do you have any suggestions for them? Anything, do you think they're making the right decision in under this climate that we're in? Like, should young girls still do a pageant? Is that still a good way to proceed in the next? Because it's gonna, if they're only 12, it's gonna be 10 years. Assuming that they win a teen title and then they want to do Miss, they probably have 10 or 15 years of pageantry. Should they still do a pageant? And do you have any suggestions on that?
Well, I think for young girls and women that are doing pageants in their 20s, I think to compete, you really need to realize why you're doing it and you need to love what you're doing. If you don't enjoy doing pageants and pageants aren't for you, that's fine. But if you compete and you love it, then try to implicate some personal growth and try to find a platform and something that you're passionate about, something that you want to talk about. And I think that pageants is a great way and a great stepping stone for women that want to talk about whatever's on their mind. So I I would definitely recommend that someone try a pageant because you would get a lot of confidence from competing, but yeah.
Well, I think that's the best way because I think everyone's individual. So it sounds to me, I think still to this day, pageants are so important for women because women honestly still don't get the same opportunities that men do. And I think it's important that we continuously give women as many opportunities as men. And I think it's important to give women an opportunity to be their own selves and not compete against men and also have something that, is totally different,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most women don't want to play football, and most men don't want to be a pageant contestant, but there are women that play professional football in some women's leagues, and there are men that do fitness competitions that do that competitions. But I think it's still a solely women competition. I think it's so important that this
Mm-hmm.
is celebrated, and not vilified in any way. So
I think so too.
yeah, and I appreciate that there are so many great educated women that come out of it. I mean, one of the reasons why I love about my show is that I really love to demonstrate that the majority of people that do modeling, do photography, um, do pageants are really, really intelligent, well-established women. And they do it because they love to be both Clark Kent and Superman. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and I think sometimes it's hard for society to grasp that. But is that the best way to? I mean, you agreed that was the best way to describe you, but do you think that's the best way to describe what makes pageantry so important for women?
I think so, because I mean, coming from a male dominated field, I mean, I'm working in an office where there are no other women. It's just me. So being able to step into a pageant and share something that I'm passionate about, but also be able to be around all my girlfriends and be able to wear that beautiful gown. I think it's just something about it that really makes people want to do it, especially women that are in male dominated fields, because like you said, there's a ton of well educated women that work in male dominated fields that like need that pageant aspect of things to really show off their glamour side, so they're not always just working in the field or in the laboratory or something like that.
I don't know if have you seen the new Wonder Woman, the
I
one that
have
came 84.
No, I haven't. I don't have HBO Max.
Oh, well, you might have to have a good friend, one of your girlfriends has got to have one. You got to ask one of your girlfriends for a code.
Is it good?
I think it's a good demonstration of the theory that the dorky woman can also be really powerful. So I like that aspect, and I think it represents a good, an understanding that a woman can be powerful but super smart too. That's what I love
Mm-hmm.
about Wonder Woman in general. I love that. But her character, that her like villain in the movie, has that aspect as well. But um, so I just like the whole concept. So yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I really hope that people start following you, and I hope this is the journey to your first Ms. title, and I really hope that you'll come back as Miss Virginia, and I'd love to really discuss your thoughts and your ideas on how you want to win Miss USA. So.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've had a great time speaking with you. I think we covered a lot of really interesting and important topics. So I'd love to come back one day, hopefully, as Miss Virginia USA.
Awesome. Thank you, Alexi, for coming on the show. You are truly a diamond in the rough. I hope everyone really realizes how valuable you are to the Virginia community. And I really hope that you win your title this year. As I said to our listeners, that you are clearly someone you should look up to. And the title doesn't make the girl makes the title. And you are just an incredible person, and that title is only something that is a plus. You are already an incredible person, and you make incredible changes in the world just because who you are. So I'm thankful to have you as a friend, and I'm thankful to have you on our show. Of course, I always want to thank our followers, and I really appreciate you guys following and commenting. As you guys all know, we have our other show on this feed called the Movie Review Show with my co-host Iman Carlos, where we talk about movies and we just have a great time. As always, please continue doing your social distancing. I'm praying for you guys all. Wash your hands. Okay, please get a vaccine. Please get a vaccine. And as always, please stay